Listen, I had to tap in real quick because it's Kodak Black jumping back into the mix and stirring things up again. And you already know how this goes. We're outside with it, just catching what's happening in real time. I had to slide through a few spots earlier today and knock out some errands, but hold up, I had to pull over for a second just to update y'all on what's been going on lately. Because if you've been watching, you already saw how things started heating up between these two recently. They've actually been going at each other for a little while now, ever since BOOSIE Badass went hard at Kodak Black for linking up on a song with 6ix9ine. Ever since that moment, it's been a little back and forth shots and tension building between them. Now, recently, BOOSIE Badass jumped on Instagram Live, and listen to this. Kodak Black slid straight into the comments telling him to clean his face up and get right with him. So you can imagine the energy. They started going back and forth right there in real time. Then Kodak Black took it a step further by posting it on his Instagram story. He threw up a clip of BOOSIE Badass acting in a movie scene where it looked like he was telling on somebody and basically said, "Yeah, this BOOSIE right here." But BOOSIE clapped back, saying, "Hold up, that was just acting." He even joked that Kodak probably wants to be in movies too. Then he flipped it with a jab, saying Kodak should play a crackhead because that's what he looked like at the time. Now, the whole angle Kodak Black is pushing against BOOSIE right now is pretty simple. He's saying, "You went hard at me and disrespected me," but at the same time, he's accusing BOOSIE of moving like a hypocrite and picking and choosing who he checks. According to Kodak, BOOSIE dragged him for doing a song with 6ix9ine and treated it like a major problem. But he's also pointing out that there are other artists in the industry, some big names too, who've done questionable things. And according to Kodak, BOOSIE never had the same energy for them. So now Kodak is basically asking why he's the one getting all the smoke. And recently, Kodak Black found another moment he believes proves that hypocrisy. He pulled a clip from a Vlad TV interview involving BOOSIE. Now, I can't play that clip here, but you can easily find it over there if you want to see the full conversation. In that interview, BOOSIE talked about Lil Wayne taking a picture with Donald Trump. And Kodak used that moment to raise a bigger point. He basically asked, "Didn't you turn around and ask Trump for a pardon later?" And that's where the layers of this conversation really start stacking up. Years ago, BOOSIE criticized Wayne for that Trump photo. But later, when BOOSIE was dealing with his own legal situation, he publicly tried to reach out to Donald Trump in hopes of a pardon. That actually happened. It was posted on Twitter, and the screenshots are still out there. So Kodak's argument is basically this. He's saying BOOSIE loves calling people out and telling them what rules they should follow. But according to Kodak, when it benefits BOOSIE or protects certain relationships, those same rules suddenly change. And Kodak is saying this isn't even the first time he's pointed this out. He's brought up similar situations before when other artists were accused of snitching or getting into messy situations. Now, whether people agree with that or not is another conversation entirely, but that's clearly the angle Kodak Black is pushing right now. Well, once BOOSIE Badass caught wind of that clip circulating online, he jumped right back on the internet with his own message. And he said anybody who checks paperwork could never say he's a gangster. Then he added that real street people will never respect you. And he ended the post with a 100 emoji and laughing faces, making it clear he wasn't backing down. He even went straight at Kodak Black saying, "You'll never be respected again." He doubled down, claiming that once somebody checks your paperwork, it's basically over after that. According to him, once that label sticks, people on the street will always see you a certain way, and there's no coming back from it. He even added that no one in the federal system respects you once such accusations start circulating. Then he threw in another jab, accusing Kodak of trolling the late Nipsey Hussle, while also claiming Kodak had to check protective custody. The message was basically that there's no heart or morals behind Kodak's moves. He even mocked the idea that money or fame could fix that type of reputation. Clearly, the tension between Kodak Black and BOOSIE Badass has been brewing for a while now. And listen, there are several layers to this situation. Because when people start talking about snitching or paperwork, emotions run high, no matter who's involved. A lot of folks feel strongly about those street rules and about standing on principles. The argument usually comes down to integrity, accountability, and owning whatever decisions you made. The thinking is simple. If you're grown and you did something, you're supposed to carry that responsibility yourself.
That's the type of code BOOSIE Badass says he stands on. Now, when Kodak Black collaborated with 6ix9ine, people had different reactions to it. Some didn't like it, some didn't care, and others thought it was just business. But BOOSIE Badass publicly jumped in and criticized Kodak pretty hard over that move. Even BOOSIE himself later admitted he might have gone a little heavy with the criticism. Now, imagine being in Kodak's position, watching that happen. If you see someone calling you out loudly, but staying quiet when other artists face similar accusations, it's easy to feel like you're being singled out. And that's exactly why Kodak keeps saying Boosie tried to cancel him. Kodak argues that Boosie tried to portray him as having sold his soul or ruined his reputation. Boosie later tried to downplay it, saying he only mentioned it once and it wasn't meant to become such a big deal. But the reality is that he came out strong with those comments. So whether people agree with it or not, that's a big part of how this feud even started. Now, the conversation also shifted toward Lil Wayne and his past interaction with Donald Trump. That topic adds another layer of complexity to the discussion, because when someone is facing serious prison time, people start looking at situations very differently. Politics aside, most people don't want to spend years behind bars if there's another option. If a presidential pardon becomes possible, it will change how people think about the situation. Plenty of artists and public figures have taken that route when their freedom was on the line. That's exactly what happened when Lil Wayne received a pardon from Donald Trump. And it's also why people started pointing out that Boosie Badass once publicly reached out hoping for a similar pardon. From Kodak's perspective, that's where the hypocrisy argument comes in. He's basically saying, you criticized others for dealing with Trump, but later tried to do the same thing yourself. Whether people agree with that logic or not is up for debate, but that's the exact point Kodak Black keeps bringing up during this back and forth. At the end of the day, this whole situation shows how messy these public feuds can get, because once politics, street codes, and personal history all collide, the conversation gets complicated fast. So now the question is, where do things go from here between these two artists? But listen, I want to hear from you. What do you think about this situation between Kodak Black and Boosie Badass?